So we had some people who unfortunately couldn't join us, so I'm recording it. If anybody has an issue with that, please turn off your camera. But if you want to re-watch it again at a later date, it will be available. All right, thank you to our monthly all hands meeting. Matt, would you like to tell them about our upcoming national training conferences? We've got 2 of them scheduled.
Right. Before I get into that, I want to say that we're in the midst of our pivot towards organizationally across the country towards a community organizer focus on the leadership level. So I really look forward to hearing back from or hearing reports of one of our community organizers on some of the successes he's had in Pennsylvania, and highlighting the good work that you are doing in your own communities moving forward. Earlier today, I highlighted a tweet from a local community in Georgia where the local school, I'm going to mute Javier. I think that's where the sound is coming from. Or actually, Julie, I think you can do that. Anybody, if you are not talking, please mute yourself, because I'm getting feedback from somebody. Okay, so one individual, where I shared earlier about a group of folks in one county in Cherokee, Georgia. Their school district decided they were going to get into the diversity, equity, inclusion business by hiring some out-of-state, overpaid, leftist woke bureaucrat to come into the system, and they, through community activism, shut it down. It's a great example of what kind of work we're trying to do in the field all across the country on issues related to CRT, election integrity, justice for J6, etc., as we continue to build our portfolio. Well, you might ask yourself, well, how can I do that? How do I get started? We have 2 avenues for you. One is that we've just had our second online basic community organizer training seminar. Those have been held successfully on weekends, but we have our next weekday one coming up. Julie will get me the date in just a second. And that's about a 3-hour session, and we give you the basics to get started as a community organizer. But to make a big impact, you need a little bit more training than that. So we're making available, I'm happy to announce, our national training conferences where you'll be given intermediate training in community organizing. This is 20 hours of intensive work on a Saturday and Sunday. So it's 12 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday. And we're happy to announce, and those only can be done in person. Those are only done analog, no computers, no recording, no cell phones in the room, just pad and paper. And we're happy to announce that our second one will be in Phoenix, August 12th and 14th, and our third will be in Charlotte, August 26th and 28th. We'll have 2 more to announce in short order, one in the northeast and one in sort of the mountain west. We're still getting logistics worked out, but we are planning to do those in mid to late August in Phoenix, August 12th through 14th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Basically, we have a little kind of friendly gathering usually on the Friday before, but then we buckle down for some intense work in the seminar on Saturday and Sunday. So more details will be forthcoming on that. But again, if you're, Phoenix is a big hub, it's going to be very cheap. I think it's less than $100 a night for a hotel, and we're not charging anything for you to attend. In Phoenix, August 2nd through 14th. In Charlotte, August 26th through 28th. All you have to do is get yourself there, get yourself accommodations, and we'll take care of the rest. And Julie, what's the day of the next weeknight basic community organizing seminar?
July 6th.
July 6th. So looking forward to seeing all you at one of those. And please, we've had some folks who attended the first National Training Conference in Dallas. I think they found it a life-changing experience. So I hope that all of you also get to enjoy that. I hand it back to you, Julie.
Well, we have John Cobb from Pennsylvania, and he's been very active contacting some legislators there. John, can you give us an update?
Yes, I can. Hi, Julie. Thanks for inviting me to participate. So here in Pennsylvania, we've got, many issues that are election related, and I won't bore you with the list, but ultimately our legislators, Republicans, passed Act 77 about 6 years ago, and Act 77 enabled mail-in voting. And they did that so that they could get rid of the single party line vote button on the ballot system. So in Pennsylvania, you could still just choose red or blue and all the way through the line. And so the state legislators felt that they would be able to win better down ballot in areas around the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh areas. What that did, though, was enabled mail-in voting, which obviously didn't work very well at a national level. And so there's a move amongst various patriot organizations in order to try to get a unified voice. And so a number of them met about 2.5 months ago, came up with a declaration. The declaration is pretty short, pretty straightforward. And it said, we demand, a democracy a constitutional republic requires certain elements, and one of those elements is faith in the voting system, and therefore we demand the repeal of Act 77. And so ultimately another organization, a patriot organization here in Pennsylvania, set up an event at the Capitol building about 6 weeks ago, I would say. And we went there and Look Ahead America, as one of those patriot organizations, signed that declaration, which was taken to our Democrat governor, but still marched up and passed around that here's 70 patriot organizations in Pennsylvania representing obviously tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people, but whomever we are, we certainly want to appear strong, and so we did. And I would say actually we're probably somewhere in the mid tens of thousands once you get 70 patriot organizations across the Commonwealth put together. So we did that, and then the next conversation is what's next. And so as a larger group, it was determined that Flag Day, which was this past Tuesday, would be a day that all over the Commonwealth people would go to their local legislators' offices in their district, so that way they could be in their own backyard without any traveling. And they would carry placards, copies of the declaration, talk with the staff, whoever might be at those offices. And so that was in order to show that legislators, you care about who's local. Here's your local constituents that care and that are visiting you. Well, I don't know whether it was an item that was ignored or not, but it happened to be that our legislature was in session that day, so none of them were in the district offices. However, that doesn't really take away from what they did, because there's lots of staff, right? There's all the district directors and all the other people there that are talking to their legislators, saying we've got a mob outside of our offices. So I happen to be fortunate in that I live outside of Harrisburg, which is the state capital, and so the Capitol building is right here. Realizing that it'd be way more efficient to walk around from office to office instead of driving to Dillsburg and Chambersburg and Shippensburg and all these weird little towns in Pennsylvania, a group of 5 of us went over to the Capitol building directly. And we created a list of who we wanted to talk to. It was pretty straightforward, all of our local people, so that we could fulfill our commitment to the group. Then we added all of the Senate leadership and House leadership. And we predominantly focused on those that would be open to signing this declaration, because that was really the mission, was to have legislators sign the declaration. I started off with some emails out to them, letting them know, here's a copy of the declaration. I want to come out to your office. I'm going to be there between time X and time Y, and actually had some nice responses where they started saying, well, the senator won't be available from whatever, between 9 and 11, but why don't you come in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and they'll be here. It's like, wow, this is the first time I've really had great response from my elected officials. And so 5 of us went to the state capitol building. We started at 9 o'clock. We finished at 2:30 in the afternoon. We visited 15 legislators' offices. We met with 3, all of them strong patriots. 1 signed, 2 signed, actually. Both Ward and Gleim signed. Delosier doesn't want to sign on because she likes the not having the down party ballot, but we know that she's a strong patriot because we researched all these people. And as well as Senator Martin, he says, I don't sign on principle, but we had a 10-minute conversation with him as he's running between meetings and trying to get onto the floor of the Senate. So it was a great day. As we went to all the offices, When you walk into those offices, they think that you're going to come in there and beat your shoe on their desk, a la Khrushchev. And when you walk in and actually treat them nicely and say, "Hi, this is who we are. I'm with Look Ahead America. My friends here are with other organizations, but together we have a message that we want to share with you. This is what's important to us and why it should be important to you." And this, you could see, especially since we were going in to talk to Republicans and we'd hand selected who we wanted to talk to. As soon as we said, "We'd like to thank Senator so-and-so for the hard work they're doing on election integrity, and we'd like to have them sign this declaration to end Act 77," the people behind the counter and the tables, all of a sudden they go from being they're gonna beat us to, "Oh, hi, oh, welcome, it's nice to talk with you, and well, tell me why you believe this, well, what about that?" And so we ended up with terrific conversations with our legislators all day long. And it was interesting because we had 5 people. Some are introverts, some are extroverts, some are hard chargers, some are a little more laid back. And everyone said, "Wow, this was really a fun day, and we want to do it again." It really was. I mean, it was interesting to walk around the Capitol building. We'd never been there before. It's a massive maze because there's 3 or 4 buildings have been added through the centuries. And if you haven't had a chance to talk with your legislators and you want to do that, it's wide open. You just walk in through the security thing. Don't bring anything that would alarm security. Just walk into the building, and we had free reign. Go to the information desk. They give you a floor plan layout, a list of the senators and their rooms, the House reps and their rooms, and you just start wandering around and you're asking security guards, "Hey, where's this? Where's that?" And yeah, it was fun and it was easy, and we could get directly to them, which was amazing.
That's an amazing story, and thank you for your tenacity and for making that effort to get that done. It's not as hard as some people might think, and that was a great story. Thank you for sharing it with us all.
Sure.
Right. And I want to encourage everybody else in the organization to, again, we've got action reports that can be filed. We can find ways to augment your efforts, to support them, and to share them. So please, if you do anything that you think merits an action report, please file it. With that, I do want to introduce, actually, Julie, why don't you introduce our special guest?
It's such a pleasure. I am so happy that she is able to join us. She's a patriot with a beautiful heart, Noor bin Ladin. Whoops, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much, Julie, for your kind words. Thank you so much for having me. And thanks to everyone for being here. I'm really happy to be with you and honored to be with you to chat with you about what's going on in my beloved country of America. Even though I'm not a U.S. national, I'm, as I call myself, a patriot at heart. So it's nice to be with like-minded people on this call tonight.
Welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Are you there, Julie?
I'm sorry. Somebody was saying I was frozen, so I didn't know if anyone could hear me or not. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Noor, can you tell us about what you've been researching and studying and trying to do for the political prisoners of January 6th?
Absolutely. For those of you who are finding out about me for the first time, I'll just briefly introduce myself. So I'm Swiss from my mom's side. My mom is Swiss. My father is Saudi from the bin Laden family. And my parents split up. I was a baby actually, and I was born and raised in Switzerland and grew up here. But I was very early on brought to the US by my mom, who was a Americanophile as well. So I've been traveling to the US extensively from the age of 3 onwards, multiple times a year. So hence why America is like my second home. And anyway, it's a long story, but I felt that I was in a position because of this name that I carry, and I knew that I would have an immediate platform. And so I felt compelled, and also it felt like a duty for me to use this platform to speak up And this is precisely what I did in September 2020. So it's been almost now 2 years that I've been speaking up about what's going on in America, specifically for various reasons. As I mentioned, for personal reasons, but also something that is much more universal and not, related to me. But I think anybody who loves freedom and knows a bit about history and about the story of the United States of America values what your founding fathers were able to achieve. And I've said this many times before, but the US in that regard is very much the benchmark in terms of what a society can offer to its citizens in terms of individual liberty and freedom. And so there are millions of friendly patriots like myself across the world that are looking very closely at what's happening in America. Very distraught. We're very distraught at the accelerated pace at which the country is being destroyed from within the past few years, and to bring it back. So this is precisely the reason why I wanted to speak up and use this platform to denounce these forces that are trying to subvert America from within and all of its institutions. And January 6th has been one of the different aspects or fronts that I've been very vocal about from the beginning. I think the first article that I wrote for Revolver News was barely 2 weeks after the fake insurrection, denouncing one specific thing, and that is that this event was clearly non-organic and the justification to criminalize patriotism, in essence. And this is exactly what we've seen play out since January 6th last year, where you have all these institutions in America which have been captured and compromised for a very long time, incrementally. I don't know if you can say incrementally, if you can say that word. We have reached with January 6th unprecedented levels where everything is being sort of revealed with January 6th and how all the different institutions and the branches of government are not working for the American people as they're supposed to, but in effect are working to harm the American people. So so I've been just writing about this, doing my best to relay the work of journalists that are very much hyper-focused on this issue, namely, Julie Kelly, and I collaborate a lot with Revolver News, so also Darren Beatty, relaying all the amazing work he's done to correct the narrative and show the fake insurrection for what it really was, or as we call it, the Fedsurrection. So this is what I've been doing, and I was really delighted to be put in contact with Matt. We chatted on Twitter, and there was one thing that I was unaware that Look Ahead America had done, which was excellent work. The UN report that was submitted by your organization last August, a 15-page document that just says everything. And that happened a few months before I submitted my own document through this UN accredited NGO in this very special formal process.
Bonnie, it's Peter. Don't worry, Joe's an excellent negotiator. Alice, a very charming net.
Hey, could you guys mute yourselves?
Yeah, I'm trying to mute that person, but I...
Sorry about that. There's one person who's unmuted. Sorry about that to interject. Thank you.
Sorry, no worries. I'm almost done. And so in parallel, what I did was, through this opportunity that arose with this UN accredited NGO, there's this special formal process through which these NGOs can submit documents to the Human Rights Council and bar any gross violation of the guidelines to submit such documents, they have to publish them. And so effectively, they officially become part of the UN archives and records. And so I had 1,500 words to relate both the physical and psychological abuses, treatments of the political prisoners, the blatant disregard for their rights in front of the law, due process, right to a fair trial, presumption of innocence, etc. And so that was the one objective I really wanted to achieve with this document, but also to counter many of the lies that formed this narrative of an insurrection, and to clearly have in the records the different elements that highlight that it wasn't an insurrection, and that in fact it was a manufactured event. So that was the aim with that document. So that's one of the things that I was able to do. But it was more of a poke in the eye, as I say, and try to use their own system to have these recorded, because I'm sure everyone on this call understands that there's no faith to be had in these globalist institutions that are completely antithetical to America and what the founding fathers sought to achieve, and they've been only working towards eroding the sovereignty of the U.S. and other nations. So, but I thought there was this opportunity, and I thought it was worth just submitting that document to them. So that's a little bit about me and some of the things I've done to do whatever I could to push this or raise some awareness, however I could.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. This is Lori Furstenberg. Hi, Noor. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, Lori.
Okay, hi. So, a lot of background noise. So I'm just wondering if I heard this correctly. So you adhered to information from the UN report. I think you specified information that you heard or read from the UN report. And just me being me, I subsequently question a lot of information that comes from the UN. So can you please explain that further and why you feel that report may have been valid?
I'm sorry, which report are you referring to?
I thought I heard you say a UN report submitted last August that you said says everything. So I am just wondering what report that was and why you feel you can accredit that, because it is the UN.
Oh, well, that's the one we submitted, right? Or
Yes.
we submitted and you submitted. So yeah, we submitted it. So that's why you can count on it.
Yes.
You submitted it. Well, then that says everything. Thank you so much.
No, and if I may, if anyone on the call hasn't read the organization's submission to the UN, it's an absolute must read. I read it after Matt and I were connected, and it was just brilliant. Everything, it covers everything, and it's so meticulous and methodical in the way that it's broken down. So everybody needs to read that document if you haven't already.
Thank you so much for clarifying.
Sure. And
Hi, I'm sorry. My name is Joanne DiMatteo, and I'm wondering, do you see any reaction from that?
Listen, as I said in a couple of interviews that I did right after it was published, I wasn't expecting a reaction from the UN or from any of the special rapporteurs, because the way that it works is that these documents then make it into the records, and they're sent to the different special rapporteurs and the High Commissioner of the Human Rights Council, but the chances are that these documents just, end up in a digital drawer of the UN records is very high when it comes to subjects that don't fit with their agenda and the narrative that they're supporting or helping push. So I wasn't expecting that a special rapporteur would address the issue. However, I mean, it was a long shot, but you never know if one of those special rapporteurs, on torture or on the different abuses and incarceration conditions, etc., might have had the courage to report on it. It was a long shot, but you never know.
Right. Worth taking. Thank you.
Sure.
Does anybody else have any questions? V. Cruz raised her hand, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, Victoria Cruz. Where would be the best place to get those reports? I'm assuming on Look Ahead America for Matt's, but for yours, Noor?
So for mine, the easiest way is noorbinladin.com, and it's actually on the front page. The link is right there. The title of the document is Another Look at 1/6.
And in your invitation letter, her link was also in there if you just want to click on that for ease. Noor, we have a question in the chat box from Samantha. What advice can you give in regards to educating our friends and family when they don't know the truth about January 6th and the globalist agenda?
That's a really tough question. I think we are in what we call the Great Awakening, right? And there are different stages, I think, for different people. I'm very encouraged because, I'm encouraged is maybe not the right word, but because when you see everything that's going on and the level of destruction and of harm that is being inflicted on innocent people and just the general population, it's just absolutely horrendous. And obviously we know that the election was completely stolen and we were expecting another outcome for January 2021. That being said, I think with everything that's been going on and just the catastrophic consequences since the Biden regime was installed, more and more people are waking up, and we can see it with these sham hearings and the different polls. Not a lot of people actually on the left side, on the Democrat side, nobody really cares. It's this narrative is not really sticking. We see the rabid blue-checked people on Twitter and journalists and the mainstream media really trying so hard to get people interested or to buy this narrative. And you do have obviously people that do, but I think that the wider audience and the wider people in the United States of America know that the narrative is completely false. On the individual level, friends and family, listen, there are so many, the proof is out there, whether it's COVID, the injections, the insurrection, there is so much proof that is out there. I just keep sending people around me information, hoping that at some point something will click, something will make them question something and want to go and see actually the other side, what the other side is saying. So I don't have a specific answer except for we have to continue what we're doing. We have to continue spreading information, raising awareness, and just hope for the best that more and more people will wake up. And the encouragement part is that I do think that more and more people are waking up.
So Erin from North Carolina, thank you so much for posting links to those reports. If you look in the chat box, you can see those links. Go ahead and copy and paste them into your notepad on your computer or something so that you can have them for later. Peter the Green has a question for Noor. Peter, are you able to unmute, or do you want me to read your question?
Oh, hello. Hi, Noor. I was wondering if your report has been read into the U.S. congressional record by anyone, perhaps Marjorie Taylor Greene or Louis Gohmert?
I don't think so. No, I'm not aware. I think I would have been aware, but no, I don't believe so. But they're doing tremendous work, raising awareness and defending those political prisoners. It's very encouraging to see those lawmakers and those few senators that are speaking about this, and to bring it back to the work of Look Ahead America. And this is something that we discussed on our last call with a few members of the team, is that you have this the January 6th question. Is that how it's called, Julie? The January 6th question?
Yep, J6 question. Yes.
The J6 question, and this is absolutely essential. It's for any candidate for Congress. You have to ask them, where do you stand on January 6th? And I said, we discussed this. There are two litmus tests ahead of the midterms: is whether or not they will fight for election integrity and recognize that the election was blatantly stolen, and if they will stand up and defend the January 6th protesters.
And all the recordings that we have so far are on a YouTube channel, which I can send out in a recap letter. So you'll be able to see how the candidates have answered so far. Darcy has her hand raised.
Nora, I used to be able to keep up with you on Telegram, and I know that there were some threats made against your life, so you kind of stopped posting. Will you be starting to repost again, or are you just using your website now?
So actually, I use Twitter predominantly, and I do have a Getter account, but the social media platform where I'm most active is Twitter. It always has been. I did have Telegram up until last August, but it was on another phone of mine, which I don't check so often anymore. And I found it very overwhelming to have so many different platforms. And so I just decided to focus on Twitter for the time being. The channel still exists, it's dormant. But I'm debating at times whether I should pick it up again. But sometimes I debate if I should be on social media at all, because I don't know. But I think it's still important to have a presence, and let's see what happens with this takeover of Twitter, and if the algorithms and the censorship kind of is rectified. I don't have a Truth Social account yet because it's not available. The app is not available outside of the US, or at least in Europe.
Oh, interesting. All right. Yeah, thank you. I used to forward your notes to all my little Telegram friends.
Thank you. How do you find Telegram, by the way? Because I find it very clunky, the different channels, and it's very overwhelming.
It is overwhelming, but I have found that if you join a channel and then you mute that channel, it's less overwhelming, because then you can go and pull the information as opposed to having your phone ping all day long.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try that.
All right. One more question, Belinda in Texas. Belinda, are you able to unmute? I'll read her question. Have you made a separate video about J6 on another platform that I can send to friends? I'm trying to red pill our McClatchy newspaper op-ed staff and would like to send Noor's testimony here in Texas.
I haven't done any video. I don't know how to, you have all these commentators that just film themselves and start talking. I'm so bad at that. I don't know how to do that. But there are a couple of interviews out there of me discussing this. I was on War Room a couple of times on this specific topic, Steve Bannon's War Room, and also on Kara's Tipping Point on OAN. There are a couple of segments there as well where I discussed the January 6th political prisoner situation and the weaponization of the national security state against Americans.
Lori again is asking, why are you not in DC for the hearings?
Listen, this is a very good question. I am in Switzerland, and since going, quote, public since September 2020, after the pandemic had been declared, I haven't been able to travel to the US because of the restrictions, and the Biden regime has made it impossible for non-US citizens who aren't vaccinated, injected, to get to the US. So for the moment, I have no workaround those specific restrictions with regards to the jab. Otherwise, I would have made my way to the US a long time ago. But I'll visit as soon as these restrictions are lifted. I really miss the US, and I wish I could be there. But sometimes you think there's a reason I'm still in Switzerland, and I was reporting there 2 weeks ago when, at the end of the day, Geneva and Switzerland is one of the main epicenters of where the international corruption is organized. We have the headquarters, the actual headquarters of the UN are in Geneva. You have also another headquarter. It's a bi-headquarter, the one in Geneva and the one in New York. But in Geneva, you have all the daughter, quote, organizations of the UN's headquarters that are there. You also have the World Economic Forum headquarters that are in Geneva. We know that they meet annually in Davos, but their main offices are in Geneva. And so while everything was going on about 2 weeks ago with regards to the annual World Health Assembly and the meeting in Davos, while I was here and I was able to speak about that. And I think from a more macro perspective, a lot of what's going on is being decided or not decided, but the plans are being elaborated out of Switzerland. So I really miss the US, and I'll be on a plane as soon as I can. But for the moment, I guess it makes sense that I'm here in my home country.
We can't wait to have you.
Thank you. No, I really hope I can meet some of you in person soon. And I was just thinking about that question about what we can do with our friends and family, and the work that you guys are doing at Look Ahead America is so important, and it's spot on exactly what one of my personal heroes, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, has been saying now for a long time, is that everything has to be done at the local level. You need to reclaim all of your institutions, and this needs to start from the local level. You've been infiltrated at so many different levels. There are so many examples, but if you just look at, for example, what George Soros has been doing with the funding of the DAs, and who are just turning a blind eye to all the violence and the crimes and letting all these criminals back on the streets, as you know very, very well, you at Look Ahead America and the whole team, what's been going on with election integrity. They've just captured and infiltrated so many levels, and this needs to be all cleaned up. And it's thanks to organizations like yours, and listening to, I think it was speaking earlier about his endeavors in Pennsylvania. This is the way to go, and I think leading by example will also wake up people around you. And this is what I often say because a lot of people ask me why I'm doing this and etc. And I think we are at a point now, obviously America is kind of all of our eyes are turned to America, because whatever happens in America impacts the rest of the world. And in this, sorry, I'm going to bring it to the very macro level, but if we look at this fight against the globalists, America really, because of what I explained earlier and what the founding fathers were able to set up and enshrine, the rights that they were able to enshrine, there has been a clear coordinated destruction campaign waged against the US. And I forgot my train of thought. Sorry, I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say.
It's okay.
I mean, we actually wanted to have you back in a month, so.
No, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, anyway, so what's going on with the globalists in the US? We're really looking at what's happening there, because it will basically, not to put pressure, but it rests on your shoulders. This is what I wanted to say. And it's really up to each and every one of us to look at, this is what I want to say, each and every one of us has to look at what we can do in our own lives. I so happen to be in this position with this name I was born with, and I decided to use this to do whatever I can, and I'm trying to do whatever I can from my position. And I think this is also what General Flynn means. You know, we each have to look at what it is that we can do in our lives and at the local level. And this is what matters. Starting from the local, reclaiming your local offices, the school boards, etc. We have to reverse everything that's been done in the last 100 years. And you're going to do this, or we're going to do this with America, which is the fort that we need to hold on to, and then it'll benefit all of us. A strong America benefits all of us.
That's actually a good segue, because that's what we're doing in the research group. And just kind of to bring it back, thank you, Noor. Wanted to just kind of move it forward, the conversation, and say that's actually what we've been doing. John Cobb's done an excellent job in Pennsylvania. And that's actually kind of a great segue, just so you're aware of what we're doing here at Look Ahead. As Noor discussed, we had the January 6th United Nations letter that was sent out, and then to see that link posted earlier. I'm actually in the process of following up and finishing Pennsylvania clerks that we've been sending people who've been registered at places they shouldn't be, like post office boxes, factories, whatever. And now I'm following up with Georgia. I've already sent some out to Wisconsin as well. So we will be having Pennsylvania published soon. In fact, before the call, I was on the phone with and emailing back and forth the Secretary of State in Georgia, the investigations office, regarding 2 cases that we brought their way. They're being escalated from one of the counties because they do see there's something there. So, you know, I also feel very privileged to be in this position where, you know, we can bring this up in information and get this stuff cleaned up. It's going to take one by one, but even if we do, you know, even if we don't clean everything up, just cleaning some of it up is better than before, because it is a gradual process. If anyone has been on the webinars before, Matt discusses Victory Mountain, and these are the steps along the way. I will have some requests for Wisconsin coming up. I will need people to help file complaints for the Wisconsin Election Commission, and they need to be people who are in the affected municipalities. I will post we'll post in the email later on the municipalities that we need help in order to file those. And I am also going to be speaking real quickly for the Discord server, because neither Justin nor Chris are able to make it. There will not be a game night this Friday night or next. We are also wrapping up on Dune by Frank Herbert. And the last meeting is going to be for Monday the 20th at 5:30 p.m. on Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern. And the next book club meeting is probably going to be Malcolm X's autobiography. But we're still taking suggestions. I don't know. We're looking at books we could do. And as far as the film, we're going to probably be looking at the 2020 Uncle Tom documentary, which is kind of actually along those lines interesting. It's actually about conservative Black men who are, you know, and how they've been treated in the United States. So that's pretty much what we have for Discord and the research group. But I will definitely be needing volunteers, especially in Wisconsin, and we'll be sending that out to you shortly.
I've always wanted to see that Uncle Tom movie. When is it going to be?
Hopefully we're going to be doing it this Sunday. We just want to make sure we can get a good screening for it. I will hopefully confirm either tonight or tomorrow, but we've had a lot of interest in it. So it's been kind of a weird film to nail down, but yeah, it's supposed to be really good.
So we can blast it out on social media, and you guys can check. We're on every single platform, so you can look there and see when that movie's being played. Ian, is that your? You got everything?
Yeah, that's all I have. We'll be emailing out people who are places we could use in Wisconsin. That's kind of what's up. But listen, next week we'll be publishing Pennsylvania and then Georgia. And speaking of Georgia, I think Brandon is next, so I will pass it off to him, or Julie can.
Brandon, with Patriotic Souls to the Polls, are you here to update us on the first Sunday voting in Georgia?
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Thanks for great having you on, Noor. Just incredible. Follow your work. Really appreciate the time you've taken. So, how you ended up with the grassroots? Our institutions have been taken over for many, many years, and it's not going to happen overnight, but it has to be done at a grassroots level. Patriotic Souls to the Polls is just that. It is the essence of a grassroots movement. And Matt has been trying to drive this through my head many times that, look, there should be no area where we cede activism to our progressive counterparts. And that includes getting out the vote efforts in the faith communities, particularly the evangelical communities. In Georgia, it's been a unique experience because Georgia had many of our progressive counties that were doing a Sunday vote, and they were mobilizing their progressive voters to vote on Sunday. With Patriotic Souls to the Polls, we were countering that effort. Sunday voting was codified into law last spring through the new voter integrity law in Georgia, which made it available for any county to have Sunday voting. However, a lot on the conservative America First side have been complacent in actually activating that. Look Ahead America actually took the bull by the horns. We, in the short course of about 4 to 6 months, we've flipped 3 of the largest conservative counties in Georgia to have a Sunday vote option. And we did have our first test case of a Sunday vote in Forsyth County, which is a county just north of Atlanta. It's I think probably the second largest conservative county in the state. They did their first Sunday vote, and frankly, they were skeptical. They weren't sure if it was going to work. As it turns out, we were right. There was a large turnout, more so than any of the Saturday advance voting that Georgia has had in that county previously, and it was a smashing success. And we had the type of voters come out from the conservative side based on what the exit numbers showed us. These were conservative, most likely conservative America First voters that were coming out on Sunday. So we hope to replicate this going forward into the fall, but we have a lot of work to do. We need volunteers. If you really want to get involved in a grassroots effort in Georgia, if you have friends in Georgia, have them contact me, have them contact Julie. We're really going to make a difference from the grassroots perspective from the faith communities in Georgia come November 2022.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandon, so much for your work there. We only have a couple minutes left on our time clock here, but we just want to remind you again at the top of the hour, in case you joined after Matt said, we have a national training conference coming up in Phoenix, August 12th through 14th. Charlotte will be 2 weeks after that, and then we'll probably have one somewhere in the center of the United States and somewhere up in the northeast corner. So please keep checking our social media for those posts, or you can send me an email directly, julie@lookaheadamerica.org. Does anybody have any other questions? Oh, I see Sandra Worthington. Sandra, are you able to unmute? All right, George. Whoops.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was wondering if you are familiar with the planning tool called the Wheel.
I'm not.
When I was working at the Pentagon, we used that, and Langford Institute up in Montana, David Langford uses it a lot, and Dr. Edward Deming as well. But basically, the center of the wheel is your goal, And then you identify all the spokes or all of the areas such as education, religion, agriculture, financial, each spoke coming out from the center. And then you look at the process from beginning to end. This is what they've done to get us where we are now. And you look at the entire process. Where you want it to succeed, you find the links in that spoke, in that process. You find the part of it where you can put money, resources, and so forth in it to make it successful. If you want it to fail, which is what's happening right now, you find the weak part of the process and you start pulling or where you can make it crumble, and start taking the resources, personnel, people, manpower, all the things you need to make something work. But anyhow, that's a tool that's used. It's very effective because I'm just now reading a book that a friend of mine wrote when I was working in 1991, and I just read it. It's called A Dragon This Way Comes. And he kept telling me all this was going to happen, and I kept laughing at him. But here we are. And I'm reading it now. He's dead now, but he has identified everything, the financial situation, the legal situation, the military, the police, the education system. He went through the whole gamut of everything and how that process would crumble. It's fascinating. But anyhow, I laughed at him for 2 years, and I finally started seeing things happening and believing him. And now I'm finally getting around. He gave me the book just before he passed away. And it's amazing how right on target he was. You would think you were listening to the 6 o'clock news.
Well, can you just say the name of the book again? And then I have one more question before our timer runs out.
Yeah, the name of the book is A Dragon This Way Comes.
A Dragon This Way Comes. All right. Thank you, Sandra.
By Paul Humphreys. Paul Humphreys.
All right. Thank you. And George, did you have a quick comment before we have to sign off?
Yes, I just wanted to say to Noor that she's one of my modern heroines. I really enjoy seeing you on social media. I got a chuckle when you got a lot of press here in the U.S. When you posted that sign on top of a boat, and I appreciate how much you do for our movement here in the U.S. and how well versed you are with the politics here in the U.S. So thank you so much for all the work that you do, and it is not unnoticed.
If I may, thank you so much, Jorge, if I pronounced that correctly. And I really appreciate it. And we're all in this together. This is really for all of us, our future, the future of our children. And if I'm at everybody's service, and Look Ahead America, if there's anything I can do, let's keep the conversation going. And, if I can do anything, please let me know.
All right. Well, that was a very full hour. Noor, thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for having me with you. And it's, I'm away, but, with these kinds of events, I feel connected to all of you. So my heart is over
I know
there.
It's probably the other part of the day for you. So we're grateful that you're up at whatever part of the day it is for you. And we'd like to thank everybody for joining our call tonight.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about the national training conferences in person or the ones we do online, the next one is July 6th. My email is there. You can contact me with any questions, or if there's other ways you want to get involved, if you want to set up a 2-on-1 with Matt and me to figure out what you want to do in your community and how to get started, I'm here for you to answer any questions. So thank you for joining us. America First.
I hope lots of people will join for me, because I can't.
America forever. Good night, everybody.
America first.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Good night.
Good night.
Great show.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Where are you from?
I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, well, we just had a Dallas National Training Conference. Maybe you can come to the one in Phoenix.
Right. I am a precinct chair in Bexar County. And what we're trying to do, we have a new president as our precinct. And we're trying to flush out the rhinos, if you know what I'm talking about. And we got to get the border secured.
That's
now,
right.
We got to get people more focused what's happening.
Yep.
What's happening to our country.
You got to take a page out of John Cobb from Pennsylvania, the story he shared at the top of the hour, and just get active and go down to the Capitol and start knocking doors.
Right. Are you on Truth Social?
We are on Truth Social under Look Ahead America.
Okay. Look for me on
You'll have to send me an email, Harward. Can you send me an email? Can you send me an email with it?
Oh, okay. Because I'm Sammy Dog 007. Okay. Thank you for your job, people. You're doing a great job.
Thanks for
Let's save
joining
America.
us.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.